Roy with us. Professor Sandeep Roy is an associate professor of practice in advertising and branding at Flame University, bringing over 25 years of global industry experience across marketing, media, branding, and communications. Prior to joining academia, he held leadership roles with renowned organizations including Dentsu MediaCom, Starcom, Universal, and Zenith Media across India, Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Myanmar. Having worked with leading global brands such as P&G, MasterCard, and Hitachi, Professor Roy brings deep expertise in brand strategy, integrated marketing communications, digital media, and consumer engagement. His unique blend of industry leadership and academic experience enables him to bridge theory with related business practice, offering students valuable insights into the evolving world of marketing and brand management. So, welcome, Professor Sandeep.
Thank you. Thank you, Hemal. Good morning.
Sorry, my system just hanged. Yeah, sorry. Am I audible enough?
Yes.
Yeah, you're loud and clear.
All right, thank you. Also, please help us join Mr. Swapnil Boite. Mr. Swapnil Boite is a seasoned higher education professional with over 2 decades of experience in admissions, student recruitment, and enrollment management. Prior to joining Flame University, he held key leadership positions at Premier Management Institute, including Walker Institute of Management and IMT Ghaziabad, where he played a pivotal role in driving admissions, outreach, and student engagement initiatives. His extensive experience spans building high impact recruitment strategies, developing industry and academic partnerships, and guiding thousands of aspirants, management students through their higher education journey. His deep understanding of Indian higher education landscape and applicant behavior has contributed significantly to institutional growth and brand building. So, welcome, Mr. Swapnil.
Thank you, Hemal.
And now we have Professor Dr. Shashank with us. Dr. Shashank Prabhu is an MBBS graduate. Yes, that kind of doctor. One who maintains he is saving lives by not practicing. From the prestigious Grand Medical College and Sir J.J. Group of Hospitals in Mumbai. While pursuing his graduation in 2000s, he realized the importance, scope, and potential of management education and so decided to pursue an MBA himself to impact a larger population. He did his MBA from the Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi, and joined ITC as an assistant manager for sales. After a successful stint as the director of MBA in India for IMS, Dr. Shashank is now focusing on his next venture, that is Point 99, where he intends to make CAT prep fun, easy, and meaningful for all aspirants who are all ready to give in their best shot. So, without further ado, over to you also. Thank you.
Thank you, Hemal. Thank you for the introduction. And hi, Swapnil. Hello, Professor Roy.
Hi.
Welcome to the session. So today we have a couple of things that we are going to discuss for all of you out there. The first part will be focusing on what exactly is communications management and what are the careers that you can aspire to be a part of once you are a graduate from communications management. So that is the first part, because we see communications management, it's a very broad term. We think about all the kind of communications that we keep on hearing on a daily basis, be it on social media, be it anywhere that you go across. So we'll try to consolidate that and try to focus on the career aspect of it. And in the second part, we are going to discuss CET results, because we have Mr. Swapnil with us, and he has been a veteran in this particular sector. And he has seen, of course, he has seen all the entrance exams and he has seen the student life cycles very closely. But particularly in terms of the CET, he has been very closely associated and he knows the ups and downs of what people face. He has also been, because of his earlier stints with V School, he has also been in touch with the people who are a part of or who are the brains behind CET. So he will be able to share a bit more insights in terms of what to do and what exactly happened. He'll try to help us make sense of whatever happened, right? So we'll look at those two things. So we'll start with Professor Roy. Yeah.
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 So,
So we'll start with communications management, sir. So we keep on hearing about communications management, and for those of you who have gone through the website, you would have seen film and television, advertising, branding, everything from billboards to whatever you see, that is communications. So, sir, would you like to help people understand what exactly is communications management?
Yes, absolutely. I think communications management is all about, literally managing communications. So this has become even more relevant in the last 5, 10 years when the explosion of digital platforms has happened across, different spheres of life. So today, to build a brand, to build a business, to build any kind of industry, it is critical for us to communicate to the consumers, whether it is B2B or B2C. And therefore, when it comes to building brands, when it comes to managing communication, when it comes to content strategy, when it comes to broadcast networks, when it comes to understanding the role of advertising and corporate communications in India at the moment, right? Or even globally, the most important thing currently, where we spend so much of our time to understand social media platforms across, it is critical for us to know the science and art behind the communication strategies. And that's where communication management becomes very relevant. And if you look at how the world is sort of moving from today to tomorrow, whether it's e-commerce, quick commerce, social media, social commerce, right? This program, which has been designed with a completely refreshed curriculum, is actually targeting all the students, all the prospects who want to make a career in the world of advertising, in the world of marketing, in the world of social media, in the world of content management, content strategy, production of content, whether it's audio, video, all kinds of, different assets, right? And of course, brands are very, very important. They are the center of this, right? How do you build brands? You need to communicate. So most of our students who are interested in this kind of space, who want to be a part of the new landscape, which is technology enabled, data enabled, content enabled, social media led, that's where communication management stands out as compared to a very traditional sort of management program, which has existed for quite some time, right? So that's in a nutshell where communication management. So in one sentence, communication management is very future focused. It's completely future focused as compared to the traditional MBA programs, which are also evolving with time.
All right, great. So you mentioned quite a few buzzwords that people generally come across, right? You mentioned B2B, B2C, communication strategy, and corporate communications, all these things. So there are quite a few careers that are hidden in all of these, right?
Yeah.
So if someone, let's say, wants to start today, and we generally tend to think about the next job that we are going to get, and
Yeah.
what exactly is going to be the money that we are going to earn, and those kind of things.
Yeah.
But typically a career will span say 35 years or so, 35 years long will be a person's career, right?
Yeah.
So how do you see someone growing in this career? Because they might start with communication slash branding or advertising, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But how do you see how do you see them progressing over the next 30 years or so?
Yeah, so there are various aspects of communication management. So one kind of sort of interest area would be creativity, right? If you're a really creative person, you can get into the creative space. Any kind of management program, any kind of business today, any kind of content cannot exist without data. The whole world is all about data, right? Your viewing time, your followers, your shares, how much you are sort of converting, right? So if you are interested in creativity and data, you can choose the data side to enter, with data science. You can get into business strategy as a part of communication management, where you work on advertising strategy, you work on media strategy, you work on brand strategy, right? But one thing is certain, Shashank, which is you will not be doing the same thing for the next 30, 35 years, right?
True.
So you have to keep on upskilling. You have to continuously be on the toe. 3 years back, we did not have AI, right? And you talked about buzzwords. So many buzzwords came and went away. Metaverse came and went away without much application. We are still trying to understand the application of blockchain. Apart from crypto, blockchain has not seen so much of applications, right? And then we had AR, VR, right? Which was also a part of communication management for a while, but then did not pick up. So I think you have to really decide what interests you, right? And then you choose an industry, and at Flame University, we guide our students to find those right points of entry, right? And accordingly, you will find your way, whether it's the creative way, whether it's the strategy way, whether it's the data science way, whether it's the consumer insight way, right? And whether it's the sales. For example, even communication management also can be leading to media sales, or because you need to understand the platforms before you get into that, right? Eventually, you have to sell, platforms as well, like the social platform, video platform, commerce platform, etc. Right? So students are actually guided first to look in inner, sort of their inner side within, to understand what do they actually like, what do they sort of find interesting, and based on which they are advised to choose certain kind of careers which are entry points in the industry, points of entry in the industry. And thereafter, depending on how their life evolves with the kind of exposure that they have in the company, right? Some companies give you a lot of challenges very quickly so that you grow very fast. Some companies are actually much more bigger companies and stable companies. You have to spend some time before they give you the next challenge. Let's say after 3 years or 4 years. In a startup environment, you may be given multiple challenges very quickly in the first 6 months or 9 months or a year. So that's how you need to decide, and you cannot remain sort of static today with the same kind of knowledge. You cannot remain stationary when it comes to your knowledge. You have to continuously build your knowledge, because the role will evolve every 2 years. Right? The way I started planning social media back in 2007, 2008 was very different when I was planning in 2013, 2014. And now it's so different in 2026, for example, right? So more and more new technologies will come in. AI is going to completely impact the way we look at outputs, the way we deliver message, the way we create message. So it's very important you build your fundamentals, which will not change. Fundamentals of marketing will never change. Fundamentals of consumer insight will not change. But how do you layer your knowledge with the latest AI technologies, latest AI tools and platforms, and upskill yourself? In terms of salaries, so they are dependent on how much the skill set is in demand, to be very honest, right? If you get into a certain category where there are a lot of people sort of trying to get into that space, growth will come over time for sure. If you're very good, you have to be good at the end of the day. There's no place for mediocrity going forward. There's no place for an average person, right? You have to be good. But there are certain areas like data science, analytics, AI-enabled sort of analytics or marketing. If you develop those skills quickly in the first 2 to 4 years, you will be in greater demand. So it all depends on what you choose, what you like. And eventually, if you do well, I am confident, because we see our students doing very well in the last 3, 4, 5 years. I'm confident that, they will pick up and they will find their place in the industry.
All right, great. And one last question for you in terms of communications management. So a lot of people who are aspiring to get into communications management, or even marketing broadly for that matter, they get into it because they don't really like numbers. That is basically the rationale that a lot of people have. And that's why they are like, okay, I don't want to do finance. I don't think I'll be a good consultant. So let me try marketing. So that is basically how people arrive at that decision. But the way in which you mentioned that there's a lot of data involved, you started from there. So if there is a lot of data involved, then people will have to be at least competent in terms of number crunching or making sense of that data as well. So on that note, what all skills do you think an aspiring communications manager should have to have a sustainable career in communications management?
Sorry. So anybody who thinks I can succeed in life eventually bypassing data is living in an illusion. So there is no way you can run a business if you do not have good data skills. There is no way you can reason well in life. How do you rationalize things, right? You cannot rationalize with subjective understanding. I think, I feel doesn't work. You have to look at data. You have to be, so the word that I use in my class is you have to romance with data. You have to dance with numbers. We are not talking about very deep regression and a lot of deep sort of number crunching because now the tools will do it for you. But if you do not understand data, you will not be able to decide. You will not be able to understand the implications of that data, right? There is no place for subjectivity in any kind of management program in the universe, right? So therefore, I would say that, well, statistical abilities are not required as such because these days, during my time when there were no tools, when I started many, many years back, we had to be very, very thorough with our mathematics, with our statistics, right? But now you have tools which do it for you. Now you have AI which does it for you. But if you don't understand the data per se, the fundamentals of data science, you will not be able to read the data. You will be carried here and there by people who will misguide you, who will advise you wrongly because your data sense is very poor, right? If your data sense is poor, you cannot take the right decisions in life. Whether it's for your social media platform, whether it's for your business, whether it's for your growth, whether it's for your startup. Most of the startups, many of the startups are faltering today because of overstated projections. They thought they will sell 100 and they end up selling 2. They thought sell 10,000, they end up selling 100, right? It's because of your ability to understand the market reality. You were over enthusiastic. You overstated the future. You overstated the reality. Just look at what happened with EduTech when we got into COVID. We almost wrote the future saying that all of us will move into online, the world will change, and etc., etc. And look at where EduTech is now, right? So to read the future, you have to read data well. You have to have imagination. You have to have intuition. But my final word is for anybody to succeed, and eventually you have to run a business, you have to run a P&L, whether it's your own startup, your own communications company, whether you work for a department globally, for a global organizations with autonomy, where you manage the P&L of that department or that space, right? Without data skills, without adequate knowledge of what data means to consumers, to platforms, to business, to life, to industry, it is going to be very difficult. So I'm not expecting students to be hands-on in terms of calculations, but at least be comfortable with trying to read data. What does this tell me? What does this mean for me and my business? How does the future look like based on what is now, right? And that's my final sort of summation. So without data, there's no success unless you say tomorrow, Sandeep, I want to paint. I want to write poems. I want to write poetry. Or I want to write screenplay for a movie. Or I want to write books. Even writing books requires a lot of structure, right? It requires a lot of logic. What is the beginning? What is the end? What's the middle? How will you sort of change from time to time and create that sort of interest till the end, right? So strategic thinking comes from data and you cannot run away from it. So better embrace it and be comfortable with it and find meaning from it.
So, great. Thank you, Professor. Now we'll come to the second part of the discussion. So we have Mr. Swapnil with us here. And again, as I said, right, he's a veteran when it comes to CET and of course the other entrance tests. He has seen a lot of student cycles from the admissions standpoint as well. So yesterday the CET attempt to results were out and a lot of people, as is the case in most years, they are slightly surprised with the kind of scores percentile that they have got because in terms of CET, nobody knows what percentile they are going to get till the time the actual result comes out. Right? So a lot of people were surprised and quite a few people are disappointed with their performance. So you would have seen quite a few people go through this. So what is your take on this?
So can I request you to give me some admin rights so that I can show some slide I have made like when you guys were talking. So it helps the student.
Just give me a second. Yes, I have made you the host now.
Oh, nice. Can you see the slide now?
Yes, I can see it now.
Yeah, so I'll just stick to the topic and quickly. So we all have got the percentiles. Okay. So all of us don't know the rank. So the allotment happens in MBA only to the rank. Okay. So first thing first we need to do is participate in the CAP round. But at the same time, study the whole process because we are on 14th of June. And I started counseling maybe 20 years back. I started with CET counseling for engineering. Okay. So I used to have a famous dialogue of saying ki right now, I mean the admission cycle starts now until Azadi tak आपको admission मिलेगा. मतलब 15 August is where you might get admission. You may, okay. So and at the equal breath, so let's suppose you got 98 percentile and you feel that you are got a good percentile. If you're an open category candidate, but your rank may be 2% of, let's say, 40,000 or 1 lakh, whatever the case may be. So out of, let's say, 1 lakh, your rank will be what, 2,000? The back of the hand, simple calculation, if you're 98 percentile. So if you're, even if I take top 10 colleges of Maharashtra, okay, and I total them, the seats are not 2,000. Okay, so that means you will miss the bus in spite of getting a 98 percentile. So you must study this, study the cutoffs, and the good news is the government of Maharashtra clearly announces all the cap round announcements as well as the allotments as well on the site. So roughly, I'll tell you, last year Bajaj is closed on 99.91, but this year it might close at 99.93 because that was the last student who got lucky probably and at rank 71 got through. Okay, so ideally it ends by rank 50. Okay, within rank 50, if I may say, for open. So you need to study the cutoff. Let's say if I'm a SC category candidate, ST or whatever category I belong to, or maybe a all India category. All India, though definitely it's between 1 to 25 ranks. So in short, what I'm trying to say is don't overestimate or underestimate because you will lose 1.5 months just to know which college you're going to get. So the solution can be, so this is the problem. This is the problem statement. So the solution is, of course, parallelly apply to PGDM applications, parallelly apply to Flame for communications management. So you have to keep on having options, right? So one option is, of course, PGDM of XYZ. I don't want to name the colleges because for every percentile, colleges are different. Okay. And people may not appreciate taking, I'm taking competitors' names. So I'll refrain from that. I have certain names in my mind, but I'll refrain from that. So they are, and probably Shashank is at a better liberty to take those names. Okay, whatever, I mean, the deadlines may be around.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can apply to PGDM colleges definitely parallelly, even if I've got a 95, 96, which is a good percentile, and I'll not get anything in cap. So you please do that. And one more thing, if you're missed it by some rank, let's say I am got 98.5 and since my alma mater, I mean alma X college, Wellinger. So Wellinger closes at, let's say, 98.5 and you have got 98. So you may want to apply for institute level seats because institute level seats is apart from the normal cap rounds. Okay. You may want to exercise that option, but it is for only students who have got 98 and above, not a, let's say, 97 and maybe a 95. Okay. You are expecting too much. I mean, the cutoff may not come down. Okay, so these are certain hygiene things which we need to do from right away, and that is why, see, why did the government of Maharashtra did CET twice is because the student who got the results early can make decisions, but sadly students have not made decisions. I heard and I guess, okay, that's always the case, but now they can have clear decisions. Okay, so my suggestion to them will be those who got more than 80 percentile up to 96, they can look at options. Of course, one of them being Flame, I can talk about, and Professor Roy has been gracious enough to explain you what exactly is in store for communications. And strictly, we want to be very transparent and honest to the student that only those who are looking at marketing specialization, they only can exercise communications management. Those who want to go for finance or HR, strictly there's a absolute no. I mean, there'll be an expectation mismatch.
Of course.
Okay, so these are the few pointers which came up my mind and I wanted to chat. Shashank, over to you.
So Swapnil, one more question that you have mentioned on the screen itself. A lot of people have this thing of MMS versus PGDM versus a specialized MBA program. So what do you think about all of these? Yeah, so I'll tell you, see, you should be in a position to first get all three. That's what I tell students. Okay, then you can make a choice. Okay, there's no rank 1, 2, 3. So ideally, I'm of the opinion that MMS or PGDM may not matter too much. Okay,
because let's say since it's a high rank college, so Wellinger MMS or PGDM, only thing changes is I think the fees. Okay, so the MMS I think is 8.6 for 2 years. And in PGDM, of course, you may end up spending double the amount. Okay. But rest, everything is going to be the same. But then have you got 99.13 percentile, which is the cutoff?
Yep.
So if you don't have the percentile, then you don't talk about MMS. So you go to PGDM. And the specialized program, of course, see, many people are sure. Let's suppose, let's take this this is a very important question, because if I have done, let's say, BMM, or maybe journalism. Okay, so I'm very clear in my head. Okay, I'm very clear in my head that I want to do something in communications. Let's say if I'm an engineer, I may or may not be clear. But if I'm an engineer, let's say with Percept or maybe Leo Burnett, okay, all these advertising agencies, then yes. Okay, then you can look at communication. So these are the certain things which I cannot tell a student that, okay, this is what you should do, because I don't know them. Okay, you have to know the person also to counsel that person. So, I mean, prima facie, I will tell them that don't be in a rush to make a decision, and do it from a good university itself. Okay,
Right.
don't be, because once you do a mediocre MBA, masters, your life will be always mediocre, I feel.
Right.
So
And we
right
have
now
got
you
a
can
question
apply
in
to
the
colleges.
chat.
So maximum is
Atharv has asked,
Yeah,
I've
sorry.
scored a 92 percentile in the CET. So should I be
Correct.
applying to Flame Communications Management? So you mentioned that the percentile
Only if the person is interested in marketing.
Yeah.
Just because he's falling in the percentile bracket, he can apply. I don't see that, because we are not short of applications at all. We have a lot of applications. We are just we just want that good students apply.
Yeah.
And interested. More important, interested students apply.
Great. So there is no bar on cap on percentiles as such?
We prefer 75 and above.
Okay, great.
75, 80 and above. See, because it's a CET, I'll prefer 80 and above. If it was CAT, I would be okay with 70, 75 as well. Because CAT's a much tougher exam.
Fair enough. Okay. So Atharv, you got to answer. If you're interested in marketing, then you should definitely consider the program. So yeah, that's basically what we had from our side
Yeah,
today.
and the last thing I'll
Professor
add,
Sandeep,
because the students, Shashank, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Because the student is got 90% and above, so we have scholarships as well. So probably, I don't know when any other university runs such kind of scholarships. So the student who really performs in our processes, which is after the once they apply, they have to go through a process, which is of course PI and essay writing. Okay, once they clear that, based on that, we can give up to 100% scholarships as well.
Great.
So the fees are, I mean, we are not interested in fees of students. We are interested in good students.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Professor Roy, anything that you wish to share with the aspiring students?
Any
No,
parting thought? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be very honest, I think if you live close to Mumbai, Pune, just come and visit us. It doesn't take too much effort, to be very honest, and the curriculum is at par with the best in the world today, because as I said, we've done a refresh, we have done benchmarking, and we've also done validation with the industry in India, industry experts, right? Second is we are getting the best of the best people internally and externally from the industry to deliver that content. We are not an institution which is sort of sitting comfortably thinking, oh, now we have the students, they're going to be locked in for 2 years. So I am now relieved for 2 years. I don't have headache, right? I will deliver what I have to deliver. It's not like that. Every day we are thinking, how can we deliver better? Every day we are discussing amongst our faculty meetings with our deans that how do we really give the best to our students. Sometimes students who have studied in the so-called top tier institutions of the country come and tell us we got much better learning at Flame University because we didn't even realize that we were at par. The students who are graduating, who have graduated this year in the third year and the fourth year, they said that we don't regret 1% of spending 3 to 4 years here, because the amount of learning, the amount of exposure the faculty interactions, the industry interactions, and even the global exchange programs that we are creating, the global immersion programs that we are creating, is absolutely, I can tell you with humility, the best of the best, because it's thought through. We really put an effort to give the best. So I don't think any student who's a part of our community will regret even 1% after having spent 2 years here. It'll be a learning of a lifetime. It'll be an experience of a lifetime.
Okay, great. All right. All right, great. So, Swapnil, any closing comments from you? Final thoughts, and then we'll close it.
I will want every student to get into a good college. Okay. And I mean, exercise your options, talk to your mentors. Okay. And take a decision now. Okay. Don't delay it, because every year there's going to be problems, different problems, I may say.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Chalo, great. All right. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Professor Roy. Thank you so much, Swapnil, for sharing
Yeah.
so many words of wisdom in this compact session. Thank you, Hemal, so much for making sure that this was facilitated. And thank you, Prachi, as well. So all of you, thank you so much. And I hope the aspirants have learned a lot of things. For those of you who are going to watch the recording of this session, do put your queries in the comment section, or if you have some appreciation, anything that you want to share about the session, do share it in the comment section. I'll share it with both of you. And in case there are any questions, I'll let you know so that we can give a nice informed reply to the people who are going to reply to who are going to comment on the session. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And
Thank you.
Hemal, of course, thank you so much. And we'll close it for today. And I hope a lot of people get to visit Flame campus, because I visited and it's a very lovely campus. So do it at least once in your life. I'm sure you'll not regret it.
Yes.
So on that note, we'll close the session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shashank. Thank you, Swapnil.
all right,
Thank
great.
you, Hemal. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye.
Lovely Saturday morning. Thank you.
Yes.
So bye, everyone.